You can make good arguments for Trump's intervention in Venezuela, but critics warn Trump's strategy could embolden China and Russia to expand their influence in Europe and Asia. To discuss this and more, I'm joined now by former Foreign Affairs Minister Alexander Downer. Alexander, thanks so much for coming on the program. What have you made of Trump's actions in Venezuela? And what do you make of those who say he single-handedly destroyed the rules-based order that had kept our world safe for the last 60, 70 years?
Well, I think what he's done in Venezuela is very bold, and hopefully it will succeed, overthrowing a socialist dictator who stole the last presidential election where 70% of people voted against him, and who's reduced the GDP of Venezuela over 10 years by between 70 and 80%. And has caused something like 8 million people, that's 20% of the population of Venezuela, to leave the country. Overthrowing him is no bad thing. I mean, there was a time when liberal democracies and freedom-loving people saw the world in terms of, well, we've got to fight authoritarian regimes and fight for democracy and for freedom. And the fact is, over the last 2 decades, we've stopped doing that. We've got into this sort of world of moral equivalence. It doesn't matter what sort of regime they have in Venezuela or in Iran or in Russia or China. That's all fine by us, and it's no better or no worse than ours. We used to have faith in our liberal democratic system. We used to believe in the struggle for freedom. And if I may say so, Donald Trump has returned to those ideas. I mean, he says out of left field things from time to time. There's no doubt about that. But there is also no doubt that he is absolutely determined that the side of freedom is going to start to prevail. Because under the old rules-based system, as you describe it, Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, they've totally disregarded it.
Yes.
They've disregarded it. We've applied it, and they've disregarded it, and they've made a mockery of us over the last 20 years.
That's what I've not understood about all these people complaining that Trump's destroyed the rules-based order. I'm thinking, who's been obeying the rules? Like, we have, but not China, not Russia, not Iran, and we've been made fools of. So I like your analysis. Let's go from Venezuela to Greenland, because Trump doesn't seem to be slowing down in terms of his ambitions. Is ambition the right word, or is it national security that really is motivating him? He's now pretty determined to really make a pitch for Greenland, even suggesting that perhaps residents of Greenland could be paid money, presumably to vote to join the United States. How serious do you think he really is, and how far do you think he would go if Greenland is that vital to America's national security?
Well, it is vital to America's national security. By the way, I've been to Greenland, and I don't know many of your viewers could boast that. But seriously, the United States has, at least in area, its largest military base outside of the United States, actually in Greenland at a place called Thule, which is in the north of Greenland. And what it does is it's fundamental to the American military's communication with their satellite system. And it's also the early warning system for missiles. Can you hear me?
Yes, please continue.
The early warning system for missiles that might, in the event of a terrible war, come to the United States from Russia. So this Thule base is absolutely critical to the security of the United States. So when you look at it from America's point of view, Greenland is a Danish colony. Wouldn't it be better if the Americans, rather than the European Union, had control of Greenland in terms of American security? Look, I mean, I think it's very debatable, and it's probably not worth the trouble to try to buy Greenland from Denmark, because the Greenlanders themselves seem to want independence. That was the message I got when I was in Greenland. They don't want to be a Danish colony, but they don't particularly want to be an American colony. So there are only 50,000 of them, though, so there are not many.